What's up YouTube? It's your boy Barcode. I'm back with another video. In this video, we're going to cover the new update, 2 new monsters, 1 new spell, and a bunch of other fixes. Before I start the video, I want you to know, in my Discord, I have a new cheer channel. Whenever we know who wins a cheer, we post it, so you can get your easy 10 green cards. Even with the crystal cheer, we sometimes have that too. But if you want some information, feel free to join the Discord in the description down below. If you like this content, you know what to do. Hit that sub button, hit the like button, hit that bell dingy thing, so you know when I post a video. Let's get right to it. Hey, let's talk about this World Showdown real quick. $10,000 Richard Dark B, congratulations. GG to you, sir. Mav King, Monkey, Hugo, great job on getting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I just want to say I did pick the champion correctly. A lot of people's brackets got screwed up when Harley lost, but I did have Dark B beating Harley. Mav King took out my bracket as well, and I had Monkey losing. So if I would have picked Mav King and Hugo, I would have been on point. Update 1.4.5. This is going to bring a huge meta change. We got 2 new monsters, Galleon the Pirate Captain and Diaz the Death Knight. Comparing this to the beta, looks like Galleon did get a buff and his mana cost went down to 3 from 4. I feel like this is going to get nerfed in about 2 weeks after release. But let's talk about Galleon real quick. Galleon's going to apply a defense down 2 on all enemies and attack up 2 on all friendly units. This is going to be huge. We're going to see a lot of Tessarians. We're going to see a lot of Brand Doomsday, even though it's getting nerfed. We're also going to see a lot of Chloe still with Camilla. You can even use Galleon with Camilla without Chloe. But we're also going to see a lot more stuns. I feel like we're going to see some Molongs that either counter Galleon or counter the Tessarian or whatever the case may be. We're going to see a lot of Jeans, Gannies, and Wadams, Lame Strike, which is also getting buffed. The list goes on. McKean's for the immunity cleanse, Hathor's to sleep the backline. We already see a lot of these things, but with Galleon coming, we're going to change into this AoE meta shift. Galleon's going to be well sought out, and there's a lot of people that's been hoarding crystals and summons, and they're going to summon on this. Skillstone wise, the beneficial effect for accuracy is probably one of the better 3. Obviously, the legendary one, silencing all enemies with a 50% chance, is going to be really good as well. But I feel the accuracy one is gonna be legit. In beta, he landed maybe half the time or even a quarter of the time. If you got lucky, it'd be everybody. Only time will tell. Diaz, another dark unit on the list. I feel like in beta he was 4 mana cost too, so maybe he got a little bit of buff. But 3 mana cost, they attacks all enemies as well, and the damage is based off of his HP. The damage was definitely lackluster in beta. Maybe they increased that a little bit, but his attack also grants unrecoverable and everyone. This is going to be huge on Colleen comps, Eleanor comps, and McKean comps, and even Bella Dion. Diaz is going to be your frontline tank, and literally every single one of his skill stones is actually really good if you plan on using him. Increasing unrecoverable by 6 seconds as your base skill stone is actually really good. 6 seconds is a very long time. Increasing your HP by 20% is going to help tankiness, and it's going to help his damage. And his most rare skill stone of recovering his HP by a portion of the damage he deals and all allies deal to the enemy when they are unrecoverable. That is huge for a frontline tank. Add that with a commune to keep him healed up. It's going to be huge. New spell, Imperfect Revival. I'm not exactly sure how I like this spell or not. It depends on the actual duration of the effect. It is a 2 mana cost. It can keep your front line up pretty well, but I don't know. It's going to be very, very hard to actually use this over any other spell. Like, what are you going to get rid of to use this? Not exactly sure, but also going to depend on your team comp. Balance adjustments. This is huge. Artemia is getting a 5% damage buff, which I don't think he actually needed. I feel like this is a way to use him more and bring him out more. Maybe they went by monsters that aren't used as much. However, he's a legendary monster. People don't have him high level usually. Yes, if you didn't strip buffs, he didn't do a lot of damage. But if he stripped buffs, it's huge damage and it's a huge heal. Nikki, Teddy spell. I think this is actually really, really good. There's going to be a lot more Nikki's out there. The duration is from 9 seconds to 6 seconds, and it's a 10% damage boost. So I don't know if this means that the 3 ticks are down to 2, or if those 3 ticks have a shorter duration of maybe 2 seconds for each tick. And then the explosion at the end. It's going to be really interesting to see how Mickey does. Poseidon, his purple stone, the skill stone damage got changed completely. I know there was a lot of discussion about Poseidon's skill stone. He doesn't do any damage to begin with, and the 25% damage increase is literally like doing no damage and increasing the no damage to do a little bit of no damage. However, in a certain team comp, it's still good. He's not your damage dealer, but it's a little bit extra damage, especially if there's somebody back in the back line that has no health at all and he's still alive and Poseidon didn't have that purple stone. Whatever the case may be, it's a different discussion for a different day. But Comp to Us feels like they need to change that. So now the purple stone is going to increase the accuracy by 35%. I feel like he landed it enough, but I don't feel like they did. So now it's an increase in accuracy, which is good for the most part. My boy Ragdoll, I've been using him a lot, and he is getting a buff, and it's a huge buff in my opinion. Dragon Eyes, if you apply that Dragon Eye debuff to someone, it will now activate first before they use a skill. Currently, when the enemy uses a skill that has the debuff, they use the skill first, and then the Dragon's Eye go off. This is huge. You put it on a Chloe. Chloe uses a skill, but Dragon Eyes goes off now first, instead of after her invincibility. Damage to the line. Eleanor uses a skill with Dragon Eyes debuff. You see where I'm going with this? This is extremely huge. Chloe's purple stone is getting a nerf. There's now going to be a cooldown on that, but she does get an HP increase. I think this is a huge nerf, especially against Finns. I have the purple stone and use Chloe, so we'll be able to see what happens with that. Jean is getting a buff. His mana cost went from 4 to 3, and his animation speed is increased. But having a cost of 3 is actually really good for a decent damage dealer with a stun. I feel like you're going to see a lot of Jeans now as well, especially against Lucian comps or Desarian comps, and Galleon coming in. McKean's HP recovery with her skill stone is now increased to 35%. I'm trying to figure out what it was before, or maybe this heals for 35% of health. I'm so confused. What is this? Skill stone, Cradle of Water, HP recovery at 35%. So it's getting increased by the amount of debuffs that you cleanse by 35%. Ramagos, I feel like we're going to see a lot more Ramagoses too, because this beneficial effect for his skill stone crouch is now increases in HP by 20%. The defense, yeah, wasn't really beneficial really as a skill stone for a purple. Oh, Prey League users, you got a nerf. I'm so sorry. It's not that bad, guys. It's only 6% damage. If she does 1,000 damage, it's 60 damage taken off. Like, come on. It's not that bad. Don't get your booty all up in a hissy fit. I've seen a Prey League with attack 3 and a defense down 2 on the other side do 4K. It's only 240 damage less. Relax. Rikuni's Breeze buff gets an increase in 1 second. That's going to be pretty good. And Gibraltar's Media Bomb, when he throws out those bombs, it's going to be a lot slower. I say a lot, it says slightly. But when you read this, it says after throwing the bombs, it's slightly increased. So that means to you, it's going to be slower. So those last couple of bombs, you will be able to counter and cleanse, hopefully. I mean, you should really only be using Gibraltar anyway after a Ganymede or on a counter. Spells that got buffed, Giant Warrior increased 11 to 14 seconds, depending on your level of spell. Chain of Despair got a pretty huge buff, base damage by 20%, and the duration is increased by 1 second on the lower and higher end. Flame Strike got a buff with a mana cost down to 2, and you're going to see this a lot. Especially now that Galleon's going to be in the game, you're going to see all these AoE comps. They're going to need immunity, or you're just going to stun them with 2 mana cost if you have that spell, hopefully. And Brand of Doomsday, damage minus 10%. Duration is also down 1 second. So obviously, if you used to watch the tournament, you know Brand of Doomsday was a good thing. Comp to Us and probably a lot others felt like it needed a nerf. And it did. I don't feel like it's a huge nerf. I think it's just right. And last but not least, Beladion's stats. He made him more tanky and less attack, which makes sense. He doesn't do any damage besides auto attacking, so it really doesn't matter. It just makes him more tanky, so I would consider this a buff for Beladion. So that's all the time I have today for this video. Like I said, there's going to be a big meta shift. A lot of Galleons, a lot of Thessarians, McKeans and Wusas, Flame Strikes, Molongs, Jeans. Really depends on the skill stones and what people have. It's going to be really interesting next 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, you know what to do. Sub, like, dingy bell. See you in the next one. Peace.